My girlfriend didn't just cheat, she ran a whole roster out of our apartment. She told me she was doing yoga and therapy every Tuesday night. While I was still at work, my phone buzzed with a router notification. New device connected to home Wi-Fi, meaning someone was in my apartment, and it wasn't me. I opened my router app and saw a device I didn't recognize named Dan's iPhone. That was the first receipt. By the end of the week, I had a group chat, a shared notes folder, and a calendar where she literally labeled men like appointments. I'm not proud of how cold I got. I'm not proud of how long I watched. But I'm also not going to pretend this was one mistake. This was a lifestyle. For context, I'm 29. I work in logistics, boring job, long hours, decent money. I'm not a saint. I'm not the perfect boyfriend who never forgot an anniversary. I can be checked out when I'm stressed. I can be stubborn. Whatever. But I didn't deserve what she did, and I definitely didn't deserve the way she did it. Her name is Lila. Not her real name, obviously. We'd been together a little over 4 years. Lived together too. She's pretty in a way people notice fast. Not Instagram model fake. More like the girl who can roll out of bed and still look like she belongs in a commercial. She also had that thing where she could be sweet and mean in the same sentence and you'd laugh because you didn't realize you were being cut. When we moved in together, people did that annoying thing where they were like, "You're lucky, man." At the time I'd just smiled. Now I want to punch walls when I think about it. It started with small changes that didn't seem like cheating. They seemed like glow-up stuff. New gym, new outfits, new girls' nights. She started taking her phone everywhere. Even the bathroom, even the shower sometimes, like it was a medical device keeping her alive. If I'd ask who she was texting, she'd do a little laugh and say, "You." But she'd be looking at the screen while she said it. She also got weirdly protective of our place. Like she didn't want me home unexpectedly. She'd ask, "When are you getting off?" in a tone that wasn't affectionate. It was scheduling. One Tuesday, I got off early. Like, miracle early. I thought I'd surprise her. Bring home food. Maybe we'd actually act like a couple again instead of roommates who sleep together. I'm in my car leaving work and my phone pings. Wi-Fi connected. Home network. I wasn't home yet. That's what made me check the timestamp. Because maybe I drove past the building and it grabbed signal. No, I was still 10 minutes away. So I opened my router app because I'm a nerd like that, and I saw a connected device I'd never seen before. Dan's iPhone. My hands went cold on the steering wheel. I was so calm it scared me. Like my body knew panic wouldn't help. I didn't speed, I didn't rage, I didn't call her. I drove home like normal. When I pulled into the lot, her car was there. Of course it was. I went upstairs quietly. Our door was locked but the deadbolt was not set. That detail matters because we always deadbolt it. I put my key in. I opened the door. I walked in and heard laughter. A man's laugh. Soft like he was trying not to be loud. Then Lila's voice, low and playful. My brain did this stupid thing where it tried to pretend it was a movie. Like maybe it's her brother. Maybe it's a contractor. Maybe I'm insane. Then I saw shoes by the entryway. Men's shoes. Not mine. And then Lila walked out of the bedroom wearing my t-shirt like she owned my life. She froze when she saw me. Her face didn't go guilty first. It went annoyed. Like I'd interrupted her day. Behind her, some dude stepped out adjusting his belt. He looked at me like I was the problem. Nobody spoke for a full second. Then Lila, calm as anything, said, "Why are you home?" Not "oh my god." Not "wait." Not "this isn't what it looks like." Just, "Why are you home?" I looked at the guy and said, "Who the fuck are you?" He shrugged like he was bored. "Dan." I stared at Lila. "Dan's iPhone, right?" Lila rolled her eyes. "Can you not do this right now?" That's when my calm snapped into something worse. Not yelling. Something colder. I said, "Get out." Dan looked at Lila, like waiting for instructions. She sighed like I was being dramatic and said, "Babe, relax." Babe. While a dude is standing half-dressed in my apartment. I said it again. "Get out." Dan grabbed his shoes and walked past me like he paid rent. He didn't even look nervous. He just muttered, "Tell your man to chill." I wanted to swing on him. I didn't, because I knew if I did I'd become the villain in her version of events. The door shut. Lila crossed her arms and said, "So, you want to talk like an adult?" I stared at her. I swear to you I felt like I was watching someone I didn't know wearing her face. I said, "How long?" She didn't answer. She walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge, grabbed a drink, like she was settling in for a conversation about chores. Then she said, "Does it matter?" That sentence is where something in me died. I said, "It matters to me." Lila took a sip and said, "You've been working nonstop, you don't pay attention to me. I have needs." I laughed once. "So you bring men to our apartment?" She shrugged. "He was just here." "Just here?" I said. "Just here doing what?" She gave me this look like she was disgusted that I was making her say it out loud. Then she said, "Don't be gross." That's when I realized I wasn't getting remorse. I was getting management. Like she was trying to manage the situation the way she managed everything, by controlling the narrative. I said, "Pack your shit." She smiled. A small little smile that made my skin crawl. "I'm not going anywhere," she said. "I live here." I stared at her. "Not after today." She tilted her head. "You can't kick me out." I said, "Watch me." She walked closer and lowered her voice, like she was about to say something intimate. "You're going to calm down," she said. "And we're going to handle this privately. You're not embarrassing me." There it was. Not "I'm sorry." Not "I fucked up." Just, "You're not embarrassing me." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I said, "I'm going to work." And I left. I sat in my car and shook so hard my teeth clicked. I stared at the steering wheel until my hands stopped trembling. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I didn't confront her again. I started collecting receipts. Because I knew one thing: if I reacted emotionally, she'd flip it. She'd make me the unstable one. She'd tell people I invaded her privacy. She'd cry. She'd spin. So I turned into a quiet, petty accountant of my own heartbreak. That night, I went back home late. Lila was asleep like nothing happened. Like she didn't just smash my life open in the afternoon. I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch and stared at her phone on the charger across the room like it was a weapon. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I'm also not going to pretend I'm above it. The next morning, when she was in the shower, I checked her iPad. She'd always said she wasn't a tech person. She'd always said she forgets passwords. Her iPad was unlocked. Her messages were synced. And there it was. Not just Dan. A list of names that made my stomach drop like an elevator. Nick, Omar, Jay, Jim, Matt, Hotel, Chris, Old Flame. And then a group chat titled, "Bad Bitch Admin Team." I stared at it like my eyes couldn't focus. It was her and 3 friends. And it wasn't girls hyping each other up. It was logistics. Screenshots of men's profiles. Inside jokes about who was easy. A literal message from Lila saying, "Tuesday is Dan Day. Don't let me double book again." Double book. Like I'm a calendar app. Then I saw the worst part. A shared note. She had a notes folder called Rosters. Plural. Inside, a note titled Rotation. With names, details, little comments like she was reviewing restaurants. Dan, consistent, dumb, good in bed. Jay, hot but needy. Nick, buys stuff. Omar, hates condoms, bring my own. That last line made me feel physically sick. I backed out and took photos on my phone, hands shaking. Then I did the smartest thing I did in the whole situation. I stopped. I put it back exactly how it was. I didn't text her. I didn't confront her. I didn't let her know I knew how deep it went. I called in sick to work and drove straight to a clinic for STI testing because I'm not an idiot. Then I called a lawyer. I didn't even know what to ask. I just said, "My girlfriend lives with me. She cheated. I need to get her out safely and legally." The lawyer asked, "Is she on the lease?" "Yes." "Any shared accounts?" "Yes." "Any joint property?" "Not major." He told me the boring truth. I couldn't just throw her out. I needed to follow the lease and state rules. Fine. So I made a plan that wasn't revenge porn, or violence, or public humiliation for likes. I made a plan that would win. Because if she wanted to treat me like a fool, I'd treat this like a job. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched her like she watched me. Like a schedule. She'd leave the apartment with a full face of makeup and say, "Jim." Then she'd be gone for hours. She'd come home, shower, and immediately text. She'd keep her phone tilted away from me like it was second nature. And the whole time, she acted like I was the one who needed to get over it. One night she said, "I don't know why you're being weird." I said, "Work stress." She smiled, relieved, and said, "Yeah, you get like that." Like she diagnosed me. Meanwhile, I kept gathering proof. Not invasive spyware shit. Just what fell into my lap because she was sloppy. Uber receipts sent to her email. A hotel confirmation that popped up on the iPad. A Venmo payment from Nick with a black heart emoji. And the one that really sealed it was a message to her friend. "If he ever tries to kick me out, I'll say he scares me. He'll fold." I read that 3 times. She wasn't just cheating. She was prepping to weaponize the system. That's when my anger went from heartbreak to something steadier. I need to protect myself. So I did. I moved my paycheck into an account she couldn't access. I changed the password on our streaming, petty shit, anything she used to act like the apartment was hers. I documented everything. Dates, screenshots, a timeline. Then I picked the moment. New Year's Eve. We were supposed to go to a friend's party. Lila loves parties because parties are where she gets an audience. She spent hours getting ready. Dress, heels, perfume that used to make me want her. That night it just made me feel nauseous. We drove there and she held my arm like we were solid. Like we were a cute couple. At the party, she floated around like she owned the room. Laughing. Touching people's arms. Collecting attention. And then I saw him. Dan. Standing near the kitchen with a drink. He saw me and smirked like we were in on a joke. I watched Lila spot him. Her face didn't change much, but her eyes did that little flicker people do when they're excited. She walked over to him like it was natural. And I realized this wasn't a mistake. This was her normal life. I was just the stable base, rent, security, reputation. I didn't go over. I didn't fight. I waited until she disappeared into the hallway toward the bathroom with him trailing behind like a dog. Then I did the thing that ended it. I walked up to the host, my friend, and said quietly, "Hey, I'm leaving. There's something you should know." He looked confused. "What's going on?" I didn't make a speech. I didn't yell. I handed him my phone and showed him one screenshot, the Notes app rotation list. His face changed so fast it was almost funny. "What the fuck?" he whispered. I said, "She's been cheating nonstop. Some of the guys are here, Dan is one." My friend swallowed. "Dude," I said, "I'm not making this your problem, but I'm not letting her use your party as her playground either." Then I walked toward the hallway. I found them. Lila and Dan weren't in the bathroom. They were in the spare room off the hallway, door cracked. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I knocked once, hard, and said, loud enough for the hallway to hear, "Lila, come out." Silence. Then shuffling. Then the door opened and Lila stepped out fixing her hair like she could still look innocent. Her eyes widened when she saw my face. "What are you doing?" I said, "We're done." She laughed like it was a joke. "Not here." I said, "Especially here." Dan stepped out behind her with that same smirk. I looked at him and said, "You can have her." Dan laughed. "Bro, chill." Lila's voice dropped, sharp. "Are you trying to humiliate me?" I said, "You humiliated me in my own apartment." She stepped closer and hissed, "You're acting crazy." There it was. I pulled my phone out and said, loud enough for the people gathering in the hallway now, "I have screenshots of your roster. I have your messages saying you'd accuse me of scaring you if I tried to leave. I already talked to a lawyer. You're not flipping this." The hallway went dead quiet. Someone behind me whispered, "Roster?" Lila's face drained. For the first time her mask slipped. Then she did the thing I expected. She started crying. Instantly. Like a switch. "Oh my God," she sobbed. "Why are you doing this to me?" I stared at her and felt nothing. I said, "Pack your stuff tomorrow. You have 30 days. The lawyer will contact you." She wiped her face and snapped, "You can't do that." I said, "Watch me." Dan shifted awkwardly, suddenly not enjoying it. Because guys like Dan love drama until it makes them look pathetic. He muttered, "I'm not getting involved." Lila grabbed his arm. "Don't leave me." He pulled away. And that was the best part. Watching her realize her roster wasn't going to save her when her stable base collapsed. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. The next month sucked. She tried to bargain. She tried to threaten. She tried to act like the victim. She tried to charm. She tried to rage. She told mutual friends I was controlling. I sent them one screenshot of her message about falsely accusing me and they stopped replying to her. She tried to come home with different guys to make me jealous. I didn't react. I just documented. She tried to cry and say she had self-esteem issues. I told her she could take her self-esteem issues and find a therapist, because she wasn't taking my life with her. She moved out on day 29. Not day 30. Day 29. Because she wanted to feel like she won something. She left the apartment a mess on purpose. Trash, spoiled food, little petty stuff, like a final middle finger. I paid a cleaner because I wanted peace more than I wanted revenge. A week after she left, I got a message from Dan. "Hey man, didn't know it was like that. She told me y'all were basically open." I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied with one sentence. "Don't ever contact me again." And that was it. I'm not going to pretend I'm healed. I still get that stomach drop when I see a woman tilt her phone away from me. I still have nights where I wake up and my brain replays the moment I saw rotation. But I learned something important. Some people don't cheat because they're unhappy. They cheat because they like power. They like having a secret life where everyone else is a pawn. And they will cry and call you crazy the second you stop playing your role. So yeah, that's my cheating story. Not one affair. Not one mistake. A whole damn operation. And the scariest part is how normal she looked while she did it. If you found out your partner didn't slip up once but was running a full roster and planning to frame you if you left, would you expose them publicly or quietly disappear? Let me know in the comments.
Thanks for watching. If you got this far, leave a comment, like if you liked it, and follow for more.